Hey there again. Got another big major piece to tell you today about Elon Musk and what I hope he does tomorrow, and I think he will do tomorrow, and it will move the stock. Hi, this is Randy Kirk, and if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you know what to do. I don't have to explain it to you anymore. I would like some more Patreon people, and there's going to be a big announcement, I would say, on Friday. I think it's going to be really significant. Anyway, let's move on right on to the meat of the subject. Elon Musk does not care about the short-term stock market price. Many times he said that it was overpriced at various times. Other times, he made it very clear that he doesn't care. So tomorrow, this entire investment day thing Investors Day event has not been designed orchestrated around driving the price up. Sure, there are things that are going to happen tomorrow that could easily drive the price up. And I'll talk about a couple of those in a future video, probably one more today, one in the morning, something like that. The reality is, and I've talked about this before, the key right now is to restart a new narrative that is believable and that can get people behind Elon and behind Tesla as having a mission that we can all, not all, there's always going to be the naysayers, that the vast majority of the people can go, yeah, I can get behind that. Let's do it. So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow, is for Elon to be that Elon. And I think that's what he's got in mind tomorrow. He wants to introduce his Master Plan 3. We know his Master Plan 1 was critical in his mind. We know that these master plans are thoroughly thought out. We know that Master Plan 2 took up from where Master Plan 1 left off and then gave us the next vision, the next roadmap into the future. And what happened? Every time that he's done this, people get behind what he's doing, and people come on board and say, yeah, we're in agreement with what you're doing here. And in fact, it looks like you've got what it takes to actually execute, and you have a history of doing it. So yeah, we can get with you on that. So what are the pillars? The pillars that I'm looking for tomorrow that I think Elon is going to do is, number one, here's how we get to 1.5 terawatts of energy being produced by the end of this decade for Tesla products. He wants 10 terawatts total. And those are going to be necessary for the GMs and the Fords and the Hyundais and BYDs and everybody else. There's going to need to be a lot more energy storage produced going into other kinds of companies' vehicles and other people's storage units and everything else in order to move the mission forward of the entire transitioning us into the future of using solar, wind, and battery in the future, making it cheap and abundant to where the world changes. And that formula, that idea, I think maybe if he can tell us a little bit tomorrow about how it'll change the world, how it's going to affect folks in primitive areas, people that are still getting $10 or $20 a day worth of provision. The world has moved very rapidly in the last 30 years. Poverty is being wiped out across many countries, and it can happen in the next 10 to 20 years. We could see another explosion wiping out more swaths of poverty across the world. So how does he tell the story? How does he link this energy transition into the future where poverty is almost a thing of the past? So that's kind of the overarching idea. And then within that, what is it going to take to do that? I know that's his intention. He stated it clearly. He's going to point out, he's going to say, here's how many tons of raw materials it's going to take. Here's how many factories making batteries it's going to take. Here's how many factories making cars and making energy storage units it's going to take. All of that's going to be explained. But then how much detail is he going to give us? It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to give us enough detail. At this point, I think he needs to give us enough detail so we can wrap our arms around and go, you know what? That makes sense. I can see it. I can see the path. There's enough deals. There's enough mining. There's enough refining. There are enough factories planned. There are enough locations that have been identified. There's enough on the board to make me believe that we can continue this 50% per year growth, not just in cars, but even more than that in energy, so that the overall company is growing more than 50% a year in sales and growing more, sometimes 60, 70, 100% in profits. And if that narrative takes hold, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be Friday, it may not be next Tuesday, but if that narrative takes hold, the stock will start to go back where it belongs, which is at $400 a share right now, maybe even higher. The narrative needs to be rebuilt, and folks with brains have to get it. Many folks with brains have been getting it for 15 years or 10 years. Some 5 years ago, a whole bunch of folks 5 or 6 years ago with brains said, oh, I can see the future. I can see the path. And this guy knows how to execute. I'm jumping on board. And those people are now Teslaonaires. Some of them, unfortunately, were double Teslaonaires, and now they only have 1 million. But we're getting back. Our losses have been partially covered, and now we're on our way back to $400 a share. So that's the key. That's what you want to watch for tomorrow. Is the narrative clearly stated? Elon is an amazing communicator. I've said that many times in my books, in my videos. He's one of the best communicators of all time. So therefore, I believe tomorrow he's going to communicate this well. And I believe that after tomorrow's presentation, he will then go back on the circuit again. He will be inviting himself. He'll be available to people to go out there and be interviewed to talk about this in more detail and to solidify the statement of the mission. Because you see, once you've told your mission, once you've stated it and you've stated it clearly and people say, I like the mission, you have to hammer it home. You have to keep saying it. Some people do that through advertising and spend billions of dollars in advertising in order to hammer home their mission. Elon doesn't need advertising because he's willing to go on in a thoughtful and reasonable way and sit down with folks and just comfortably talk about his mission. So look for him on the Joe Rogan show and the Rex Friedman show and a bunch of YouTubers, and he'll be out there talking about this new mission and how it's going to impact the world and how it's going to impact Tesla shareholders. So this is the story that I believe is going to impact the stock. Yes, there's others. I'll have a couple more videos to talk about those others. If you think this was helpful or useful, give me some comments. Let me know, what did you like? What didn't you like? What was helpful? What do you think? Do you think that there's more that I didn't say? Or do you think that this is pretty right on? It's been great talking to you today.